name on there was Reebok Company and Kanye West up under there. You know what I'm saying? Now, since everything fucked up, now you got Israelites and shit like that talking about, oh, why were you sticking with our people? We wasn't his people when he was signing these contracts, though. And y'all monkey asses and Shea Birds need to start coming back to realities, become spiritual adults. God damn it, your 4th, 5th cousin ain't really your people. Fuck make you think some people 2,000 years ago is your people. Bitch, you even say some shit in the goddamn... I know how to read the Bible. I've been telling y'all for goddamn years. Motherfucker, after fucking like 300 years, that ain't... Man, listen, you gotta make sense of it yourself. So that lets you know whoever wrote these books is a person in a human body. So for the most part, they made sense out of it. They like, shit, after I'm somebody's great-great-great-great-great-grandpa or grandma, I don't give a fuck about my great-great-great niece, kids, nieces. You know what I'm saying? As long as they great-great-great auntie wiped my ass before I died. That was it. You know what I'm saying? So whoever wrote the Bible put some shit like that in the Bible. They said like after some kind of generation or something like that, your family really not your family like that. So that let you know we are a human race. We all mutts. We was doing some shit in the water. When we was the sea creatures. They come in this higher water. Land creatures is really a higher form of water. But like I said, we've been in that motherfucking cycle. So like we've been doing some shit deep. So you need to understand whatever a human creating, they can only be creating allegories as a correspondence to something. These words don't actually mean what we're pointing to. We're just trying to explain it the best way we can. You see what I'm saying? So we might call the sun. That don't mean the sun is the sun. You get it? That's why I'm able to be so free and be with God, so God can show me real knowledge. Like, yeah, light don't have a shape. So whatever allegory you get ready to piggyback is under somebody else's pyramid scheme. Stop that, child. I need you to bring God's knowledge down here. And I know bullshit ass demonic God that love being called God. No. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, that's why I don't need a telescope. And still, I debunk Neil deGrasse and everybody. They would never be able to show you the stars in the sky moving to the right. They'd never be able to show you light moving, light traveling, the distance and traveling. They'd never be able to show you that. It can only be in a Star Trek movie. They can only get in your pockets to make it the next blockbuster hit. That's it. So you lost in Lucifer universe. It's the same context. Same context. And this would make religious people stupid because their arguments are so old and outdated, they have to utilize science for them to sound intelligent. So they'll start to argue for their God and shit like that, utilizing scientific terms like universe and all the galaxies and what made these things out there. Motherfucking man put them satellites up there. When y'all go outside and see a bunch of stars that's in the naked eye, but it look like it's the same distance as the reflection moon and the light that got produced that y'all calling the sun, right? But that area in that event, them are satellites. How you think we got GPS? You get on Google right now, type in, it's 14,000 something satellites there. So they didn't put the constellations up there in the 1600s. You know what I'm saying? So Saturn, Jupiter, all these things was discovered in the 1600s, and they threw the satellites up there. Now, when you understand esoteric astrology, it's us trying to attract each water cycle. So when we understand how our rivers and seas separate, we like, oh, stars is a bigger part of that. So our cycle, we're in a bigger water cycle. So now we're conflating our water cycle, rotating to the left, and that's how we get 24 hours. Now, in a water cycle that we're inside of, we're calculating that based upon our fusion and friction and the lighter version of crystallization, which is light being produced after that pressure, fusion, and friction. And then for the most part, that helps us analyze that, okay, we within a water cycle. Then we're able to anthropomorphize and make up concepts and allegories of there may be cycles ahead of that based upon us having that event. And that's how we get into motherfucking Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and then that's it. And then the other ones are just hypotheticals that low-key kind of make sense based upon having a correspondence from an Earth perspective. So this comes up with the term scientific method. Because the scientific method is just another term of as above, so below that we did in the ancient times, aka these motherfuckers that been coming up with that goddamn shit. If you indigenous, you ain't somewhere thinking about no God or calling no forms on your mind light or coming up with a goddamn language. Think some motherfucker Shanina Corlo, that takes a group of individuals. You said, if you can't see it, you can't be it. Right, real shit. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So for the most part, Once you put yourself in that situation, you know that these things are our mind being accumulated. So the best way of understanding the external world is understanding our mind. So everything from the outside, we created it from the inside. So this is why everything from the outside works like our body. So this is what makes you intelligent if you get into technology and things of that nature, because all you have to do is have this starting point as a correspondence. Make something that relate or correspond to the way an organ works, and therefore it'll be one of the next precious inventions. That's why people like mirrors so much, cameras so much, because it mimic the eye. This is why people like memory cards so much and things of that nature, because it mimics the brain memory bank. You know what I'm saying? This is why people like nursing homes and things of that nature, because it mimic the house of the heart and shit like that. So anytime you mimic something that, like, because it's like it's all kind of formations and shit like that of how we keep coming back down here and formulating our motherfucking mind. And protect ourselves so we don't all be broken up and shit like that. So they gotta have y'all in some type of product, so it's like a direction. So y'all, they need y'all as stars, y'all minds, y'all energy, and things of that nature. So they'll put you in a cast, right? So when they put you on a whole bunch of casts and things of that nature, you play out roles and characters, and they're gonna direct the movie that they produce. They produce the movie called Light, and they're gonna direct y'all in that movie. And the movie that they produced called Light, the director made it about y'all following the light and things of that nature. So the whole cast, all y'all actors and actresses, using y'all charismatic gifts, y'all spirit abilities, individual solo spirits as souls, ability to create minds. Thank you so much for the donation, Jasmine Fields. Yeah, I'm gonna start doing books. I'm gonna start doing it since I hear that so much, because I've been trying to get out of it. I've been trying to make YouTube the new book, but I guess we're gonna do it. And then for the most part, once they put you in a cast is like putting you in a box. And therefore your spirit only know about that cast it's inside of. So those thought forms and feelings, you only have the ability spiritually to reproduce those. So even when you die and become non-corporeal, your spirit create another awareness, mind and body to jump back into, and an awareness is your mind. It's just the awareness feeds off the ones that you couldn't always collect, to make a dirty mind to be inside of. But for the most part, you only have the ability spiritually to create that. So that create reincarnation, where it don't matter the race that you come back here as, you end up developing the same thought patterns and the same feelings to actually do the same actions to participate into their shadow government again. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it means to reincarnate. To incarnate means that you may come back here, but you're experiencing very new circumstances and you're detaching from these things, and you're probably going against everything, like me, because I'm at my late stages at this thing right now. So I disregard everything. You know what I'm saying? And then once you reach that motherfucking state, that lets you know you're incarnating. Then after that, you're able to take a higher form, not this form, a higher form here and things of that nature. They got more aspect and observation of the external universe that we're all in. And I hate to use that word universe, but existence. This exiting and exile and exulsion and all this motherfucking shit. But yay. So the reason why I say Curvy Irby and Kanye West is robots is due to the fact of their characters being built right now. And based upon them expressing themselves in a manner of saying that they want to be the actual Jews, or they're the actual ones, and expressing all this depression, slavery, slave ship that they went through and things of that nature, right? They're playing out biblical witchcraft, occult mysticism. You see what I'm saying? And this is what the shadow government do. And this is their way of putting puppets on us, putting them on the cross for all the people that they influence to see, in order for us to know how to go about things of that nature, right? And they put these people into a circumstance where the people, now they sheep because they think they know what they're talking about, but they don't know what they're talking about. They actually just doing everything that the Jews look at them like y'all low-hanging fruit in some way, shape, or form. Y'all still trying to call each other names and shit like that and sound fake smart. Now, since this is getting so much attention on the internet, right? Because the shadow government see what we're giving a lot of attention to. For the most part, they're going to transmute that energy. So these are going to be the people that you see in your algorithms. These are people who's catering to this, people who's pandering to this. And this is going to be the main thing to wrap our heads up to get us motherfucking confused again. Now, once we are distracted, they're able to do what they want to do anyway, because the distraction is always going to be crafted in a way that we're still doing what they want us to do anyway. So always remember that. So while we giving cootie points and stuff like that to Kanye and Curvy Irby, thinking that they're doing something right and shit like that, we're actually playing more to our demise and things of that nature. And it's not like a demise like they're trying to kill us. It's a demise that we're killing ourselves. We don't know no better in the mind. And y'all keep trying to be in search for things that's non-searchable and shit like that because you're not understanding. It's a goddamn occult book. So the reason why you don't understand it's an occult book because the Western Hemisphere got you looking at it like it's a history book. So then when you look at the context of the history, you have a distorted mind frame looking at history. And you start to conflate history with the actual occult practice. So when you would see a man walking on water, you would actually think it's history, but you won't understand the occult practice that's being conflated to the history purposes of it. So yeah, there may have been people on the boat that may have been going through a storm at the moment. But did they actually see a man walking on water through that storm? No. This is where he takes the occult practice out of it. It's when these men, in their depressing ass emotions at the moment, thinking that they're going to die, can see the light, aka a man, a thought from the left brain chakras, right? And therefore, it will have them not be so emotionally flunked out in some way, shape, or form going through that storm and make them come up with thoughts like it's going to be okay and things of that nature. So that's how you'll be able to look at it intellectually with wisdom. Once you try to look at it too intellectually, right, then you're going to try to formulate debates. You may have a bias because you're in a religion or you're into something else or you're going against it in some way. So that's still a form of bias. And then this is what makes you both wrong, whether you're a Kemet, atheist, or religious person, theologian utilizing apologetics. This will make you both wrong because both of you don't have equilibrium into understanding the aspect of the scripture. So for the most part, you end up just debating something for the sake of a selfish desire or ego or to maintain some form of stability, shelter, support, security, and safety. If I ain't say one of those already. Which makes you, in the eyes of the Jew, a low-hanging fruit. So when the book is about you, it's telling you different mannerisms that we could think out. And if you play out these roles, you will be the representation of what that means. Not actually you being an actual Gentile. Not you actually being a Jew. Not you actually being an Israelite. You have to understand the actual meanings within these contexts, right? Because it's an allegory to as above, so below. So if you're not starting from that correspondence, you're adding to something and you're doing magical thinking and using your mind for shit it ain't made for. So you become masters of over-exaggerators of the universe. And He-Man in them. You know what I'm saying? And He-Woman in them. So you have to peep game. If you know a start from a correspondence, then for the most part, you have to know what the correspondence is to. It's to the hieroglyphics or the cuneiform. So what is the cuneiform or the hieroglyphics full of? Signs and symbols. What are the signs and symbols starting points, right? Objects. So what are the objects referring to, right? As above, so below. So what is the outcome when you come to that train of thought and line of reasoning? Oh, this is a form of a clock. Oh, so we're updating a clock and calendar, a second, minute, week, a second, minute, hour, week. Day, week, month, year, greater year clock. And we given different names and titles for each position of these things. And we're even building monuments like pyramids and things of that nature that when it rise in the morning, quote unquote rise, the sun rise in the morning is on the east of the representation of that cuneiform or hieroglyphic all the way to it reach the ending of the day. And you see the Sa representations of it, the full cycle. And therefore we're able to calcularize and worship or praise in the right way. As above, so below, before we gave it these magical thinking terms like worship and things of that nature. It's just us trying to figure out how to live life in an organized way so we don't be indigenous and uncivilized. And the individuals who became guilders first is who created that cult to cultivate the goddamn culture to build character. And for the most part, if you don't have that ability, you have no reason to be crying for liberation or respiration, not even having this intellectual thought. Now, check it out. Now, once we actually talk about the correspondences and shit like that, right? Now, you don't got no business talking about Osiris being something beyond that. You don't got no business talking about Jesus being something beyond that. Now you're adding to the languages that they made off the cuneiform, that they made the writing systems that they made and the pottery that they made off the hieroglyphics. And you don't understand what it's correspondence to. So when you start to do your prayers or your rituals, or when you start to hate these things, being an atheist, but still having certain vibrations of how the day go and shit like that, you're not understanding this is what we're building these systems and religions off of. Astrology, astronomy, as above, so below. Astrology, what's the meaning behind this? Why is the sun? Why is it creating an event? That's astrology before we even get into characteristic traits and horoscopes. We're just tracking horors. Then astronomy, calculating each time so we can know when the sun going to rise again. We can know when it's going to rain. We can have the staff that turn into a snake. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, that's the allegory to it. Now, here's the thing. The languages that have been created off that, the cuneiform or the hieroglyphics is not a language itself. It's how you create a language. So you're going to make a language based upon correspondence on a second degree now. Because the first degree of correspondence is drawing signs and symbols or trying to draw us the best way we can in order to understand the representation of each space that we're moving in. You see what I'm saying? Now, we get a second degree of that now, language. So we start to make correspondence to the sounds that we hear as far as the wind, the water, consonants, as far as us skipping rocks and hitting trees and things of that nature. And then whatever vibration it makes us tap into from the vowels and just us humming, and us getting into the vibration to bring these words out. Now we're able to make a correspondence. Hey, that's east. Ha, ho, hu, he. North, west, all the way to south. And that's the holy, 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 holy. Now with trigonometry or vibrational tones, we're able to structure it and cut them out. And cutting them out, we're able to cut out certain alchemy, cut out certain energies, where we're taking certain energy from 6 a.m. in the morning, hey, and conflate it with 6 p.m. or 8 p.m., you know what I'm saying, hue. And we could create words like hey, hue, right? So, you know, hey brings you in and hue pushes out. So that from a spiritual perspective, right, if you understand a cult, you ain't even got to understand a cult. This is shit we all supposed to know as 3 years old, right? Hue, just the sound or the vibration as a spirit, you push out energy. Hey, you take in energy. So that'll be birth close to you, 6 a.m., 180 degree, you. So when you hear things like Yahweh and shit like that, now you're starting to see the mathematical position of how they're making a language out of the star or a 6-pointed star and things of that nature, right? Based upon the sound, the vibration, and creating a word that represent that energy or that specific day or that specific sound or that specific vibration in us as a 3 correlation. You see what I'm saying? Now, for the most part, so when you hear Yahweh, Yah is ha, so that's north. Way is hey, so that's east. So that's northeast. So Yahweh, high noon, all these other things, China, what is all the same goddamn shit. They're representing northeast. So what is northeast, right? If you understand the correspondence that it's a clock, as above, so below. Northeast would be nothing else but the horizon. So that would be from 10 a.m. in the morning going to 12 p.m. So they worship that part of the day. And when you think about the year on the global part of it, if you understand the hieroglyphics, then you will see that they worship the summertime. So this takes us into Sumerian and things of that nature, right? Where it gets into Cancer, Leo, and Virgo, harvesting season, and you get a whole bunch of prayers or spiritual practices all the way back to Kemet. It's all the same shit, how the shadow government doing it. But it ain't somebody trying to rock y'all to sleep. If you understand how to build a world, you understand it at a very early stage before it became these things like sheep or whatever. You just got motherfuckers trying to correlate shit. You see what I'm saying? Use your fucking mind in this motherfucking shit. So at the same time, when you understand that on a ground basis, you can get spooked out in your magical thinking all you want. When you separate all that, bitch, you praying at a certain time of the day. Bitch, you doing things at a certain time of the year. Whether you call it holidays, Kwanzaa, and all whatever the fuck you want to motherfucking call it in this goddamn shit. So once you become spiritual, you slowly but surely gonna come up with your own denominations because you sheep-minded. Because you're gonna know that these are rituals and practices, but you still gonna take their language, right? And their meanings behind it, but try to utilize it for your own egotistical natures. But spiritually, it's just really you knowing that all of it is bullshit. But you don't want to let go of it because you still have a sheep mind. So you're going to be like, damn. So you're going to create voodoo or you're going to create your own denomination like John Calvin or something like shit like that because you're the slave that you don't like how the rulers is ruling you. So you take their systems and spiritual systems and do it your own small community way to only manifest crumbs. And your ministries don't ever manifest like the way the Pope doing it because you're not practicing it the way that you're supposed to do it. But your spirit is helping you understand that it's wrong, but you're trying to fashion their shit out to make it suit you and whoever got your characteristics. So then we got Jesuits who come and create kind of apologetics and things of that nature to give people who act like this and think like this to keep them docile. So they still worship the same concept. They just think they're not. So they give them forums like debates and arguments for them to be in. But at the same time, this is what we're lost in some degree. So you have to keep that in motherfucking mind. And the shadow government, all they're doing is constructing our motherfucking character and shit.